Exploding organic portals. Oh, it wasn't me. So yeah, it's not up to me. It seems I've discovered another planetary dynamic or plan of the higher mind of this planet to explode organic portals via... Have you noticed that it's harder to overeat these days? Has anybody noticed that? That it's harder to overeat now? This higher conscious level where you're more aware, isn't it? After the end. Yeah, I think this is interesting because that means I see how the illusion is kept alive for them to walk themselves into death, because they don't see that actually what's happening to them is they're getting fatter to pop. And what's the number one cause of death in the world? It literally is heart pop. It's heart problems. Cardiovascular. It's number one death in the world. So isn't that interesting? And then Cerveza virus, seems to, because it's sticky, clog, right? It literally clogs the lungs. The scientists' diagrams showed us. They made their little diagrams and videos, so I'm not wrong. It's not some false medical claim. It's not telling you how to cure it or anything. I'm just saying what science has already said. So we know that Cerveza virus is clogging as well. Right, at the same time as the end times where there's no more energy allegedly given to the dark side and for a new world to be built, right? Slowly coming up from, the brush. The towering old world order eventually falls over. But, and can be used for fodder, right? Like that. But, look, my point is, exploding organic portals, that was the point. Yeah, so you can just see how that's happening, and it's interesting that all fits together. Have you noticed that it's harder to overeat? Because I don't think they have, and so they're still in that state of building, but it's only third dimensional and down. There's no higher plan for that. So it stops, in the fourth dimension. There's absolutely no higher plan given to it. For instance, there's even the thing called emotional eating. Emotions are fourth dimensional. It's energy motion. And I think this fits together as a quite nice sandwich today, as a good sandwich philosophy. Subscribe. Exploding organic portals. How many? Is that another billion NPCs out the way? Well, look how much of an epidemic it is in, as a country eschatonalizes, or a nation or culture rather, eschatonalizes, reaches its end of the state of history from monkey. Isn't it interesting that it ends like that, right? It's how you'd expect. It started on agriculture. So, that's where the disease has manifested the entire large cycle of history, in the fat. And they're literally being clogged by demons, right? Apparently the rate of Archon Associate, I call it, the tapeworm, the big one, the serpent belly, the belly serpent that they all have, is found in more and more people. And, if you study meat and all that, the meat industry is part of that. I don't want to say too much. They take your video down for any reason these days. Just study it all. And yeah, it's interesting that it looks like maybe you could be fooled. The illusion is up still that they're, going as the power structure in the world or something, right? They're all fat cat, like the word fat cats, right? I mean, it's in the phrase. I think that's a good one to throw in. Let's hope that fat cats have a heart attack, right? That kind of thing. It's in music, isn't it? Is that Muse or something? Was that Muse that sung that? Anyway. Yeah, exploding organic portals. Do you see how it's been given extra energy in that direction? So they're bloating now. So now it's on the, I don't know, a tipping point of death, right? So now it's on like a tipping point of death where we're actually going to see like, some sort of chart exponential trend increase if you were to put it on a Cartesian graph. Yeah, I'd say so, with the Cerveza push as well. Clogging, it's just extra clogging and bloating. And yeah, it's the unhindered ego, right? And unconscious eating, really. And that's what I get into in my videos. I'm always talking about the food. I don't just like eat. I've been held down in destitution of gang stalking, but ideally, as the channel picks up and more people donate, I can show you all how to use your superfoods. Like, I just can't afford them now, but as that increases and I can, then I can show you the best of the best, right? But I've been held down in gang stalking destitution. But you see, no matter how fat cat they are, they can't. So you're voting for the wrong team. That's the point of me saying, lift me in the Patreon. Not just because, like, I want, like, so much fame and money, man. Like, that's not really the goal, right? Because your environment can still be sick, even if you've got a lot of fame and money. And, it can still be unbearable, right? You're just trying to fend it off with money, but... And depending on the ratio, you're not always winning. You know what I mean? No matter how rich you are, so... and if they think they are, then obviously they're just like success in the matrix sense of getting assimilated. Success, really, just in their sense, the word means assimilation. Like this whole place they call life is actually death, right? It's all built on death. That's literally dead poo and plant matter and stuff and fungi, right? The whole plane is built on death. That's why the death industries rule. And it's so hard to quit meat completely for your entire life. Because you are a meat sack, right? You're part of it. You're in the body. And the body is the beast. Right? I always talk about the beast riding the machine. I'm talking about the hive in physical people's body form. Some of you, I don't think were onto that. I don't mean to sound too arrogant about it, but I don't know, I thought that's kind of obvious, I guess this is all hinged on the view of, kind of like, dark overlord rulers of this universe and an ultimate, sort of psycho AI. Kind of like how the Matrix movie even kind of shows it, right? It's a bit of a nut to Neo, and to our senses as a human, like it'll just jab you. It won't have emotional content like, oh, should I jab? But will I feel pain? And blah blah. Just bang, got to get the logic done, right? And so you see why the organic portals are trying to jab everyone so hard, booster junkies. All the Cerveza virus videos going around, like all official ones and stuff, I've been putting on their booster junkies. It's not a good idea because it's numbing you and, it's going to affect the natural evolution and process of the thing in ways maybe we can't even predict for the human genome and, just like the world, right? So it's crazy and insane how they just like suddenly jab everyone. Thinking that we can prevent it with that. Like, it didn't prevent it. People being vaxxed, still getting it. People wearing masks. Like, even the mask doesn't stop it, right? Some gets out, and you say, well, it's better than it, if we didn't do those things. In some senses, yeah. Because, like, it's cleaner maybe in some sense, but, it is part of the process of more consciousness in it. But what I'm saying is there's like the psycho element that they put in there, like that's going to lead to mark of the beast dominance and like the slippery slope argument of letting go of your freedoms, because it is happening. I mean, you can't all deny that. We're not all as free as me right now, even able to make a video like this. Like, say I was still living in some house with a person who just thought this was nuts. They could just kick me out just because they wanted to. You know what I mean? So in that way of that control, that's all going to break down. So you're going to even... It's part of the border breaking down. We've talked about borders at the end of history breaking down, cultural borders, you see, mass migration, so that's all true. So it's at every level, right, that all borders are breaking down. So I think we must be working our way to pretty much the biggest one I said, the land heist. For instance, here, I don't own this land. I'm just paying a little bit to stay on a little bit of it. Lucky there's a lot, and you know, I've got a lot of space. But I think it's all working its way towards that, because that's the biggest reason for the slavery and to have power over another man, which is Black Alliance. And they always use their power over you, right? Like I've shown examples here. There's camping where I am. This mountain's called Cerro del Toro, and yeah, it just always rears its head. But that's where it's become real dirty. That's the dirty end, and that's the clog, because the clog is always dirt, right? The clog of the drain is the dirt in the drain. It's not the drain like skirting or outside. So yeah, exploding organic portals. Let's hope that's another billion NPCs out the way.